What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Outfielder Podcast, episode 125, presented by Sensibly Loud Media. I am your host, J-Mac, a.k.a. Founder Numero Uno, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Popfly himself, Founder Numero Dos, Ben.
Those Pogs are making a comeback, let me tell you.
Baseball, Ben, what's going on, man?
Hello, all my fellow Pog enthusiasts. You know who I see that up on the hill with that big old slammer coming around the pike? Let's see who we got coming up next.
Ladies and gentlemen, now batting cleanup for the Outfielder Podcast, number 3, the Great Sambino.
Hello, Sam.
Hi. I think it was summer last time I was here, and now it's
It has
fall.
been a while.
I apologize.
Still summer until Tuesday, but we are definitely by the time people are listening to this, happy fall, pumpkin spice, all the things. Sam, are you a fan of pumpkin spice?
No, I'm not. There's a number of reasons, but there's actually a very specific reason to me why I don't like pumpkin spice. Should we go into this right now?
I think we have to.
All right. So pumpkin spice, I hear it's tasty in things. It's just not for me. I hate it mostly because the acronym is PSL, and that is an acronym that I use at work for my group of people, which is the professional services leaders. And whenever I say PSL, people laugh at me, and I'm like, fucking pumpkin spice.
Okay.
Yeah,
I hear you. J-Mac, you were nodding along. What's your take on all this?
It's trash. It's not worth your time. It's not worth anybody's time, period. It comes out in August, for God's sakes. That's not fall, number one. And number two, it's so overhyped that, I mean, as soon as something like this gets hyped up as much as it always is, it makes me instantly hate it. Like, no doubt about it. And it's just really not that great to begin with. I'm fine with a little pumpkin every now and then, but that's not, I don't need it in a latte. I don't really drink lattes to begin with, but I don't need it inserted into my coffee, and I don't need it in all these weird-ass, strange places that people have found to put it in at this point.
So, first of all, you're both wrong, and I hate you. Secondly,
Okay.
no, why do y'all hate things that make people happy?
I didn't say I hate it. I just said it wasn't for me, and the acronym also is very insulting.
I said I hate it, and you got outruled on this one.
So, totally fair. In defense of pumpkin anything, first off, it's a gourd, which is just amazing. Anytime you can work more squashes and or gourds into your regimen, I highly recommend it. Secondly, in my house right now, not only do I have pumpkin spice coffee creamer, last weekend we made pumpkin bread, a special pumpkin butter, pumpkin muffins. So anyone that wants to come fight me on pumpkins, yeah, you better bring your A game.
Let me just, J-Mac, go ahead. You have points.
I got some questions.
We've shifted from hating pumpkin spicing everything to hating the actual gourds and the pumpkins themselves. So I don't know if you noticed during your talk track, you definitely shifted from pumpkin spice lattes at Dunkin' Donuts to everybody hates pumpkin bread, which is not what we're talking about.
Well, here's what I'm saying is that spice that you both dislike so much, you're never going to guess where it comes from. I'm about to blow your mind.
Not pumpkins.
Hey,
Yeah.
You know what? Why don't you go take a short walk off a long pier?
I haven't
Wait,
played.
shit. Long walk off a short pier. Dang it.
There it is. Oh, we're not.
Sorry, I forgot when fall started. I thought it was fall. It is not fall.
It's close enough.
I'm an idiot.
We're recording this in Atlanta and North Texas, so fall exists for about 3 weeks in October.
So we enjoy it where we can. That's for damn sure. So, Ben, you mentioned pumpkin bread, and we're going to let this pumpkin thing go here in just a second, but this is worth diving into, I feel like. And even if it's not, I don't care. I'm asking these questions anyway. So the bread, are we talking about like a dessert type of bread? Or are we talking like a sandwich?
No, it's definitely more dessert, but I'd say it's closer to like a breakfast, like a banana bread.
Okay, yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
And I really have no problem with the muffin either. It's not a taste type of thing. It's the overhypeness that gets it for me.
Yeah.
And it's not that good to live up to that kind of hype. Nothing would be.
If it was that good, it'd be year round. That's a fact.
That's absolutely a fact.
See, but that's like saying that, part of it is because you can only enjoy it at certain times, that's what makes it better. For example, the McRib.
Okay. First of all, nobody's ever used the McRib to make a point. So bravo to that. I'll even give you an applause there because that was something. But yeah, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think it would be year round if it were that good.
Okay, well, we can agree to disagree. Fall is coming up, and you know what that means? Playoff baseball. But before we get to that, we have a massive update for the fine folks at home. J-Mac, will you tell people what the good grounds crew found?
So Ben and I, we were off last week, and then Sam was off the week before that when it was just Ben and I. And so and then the episode before that was actually just Sam and I, I'm pretty sure. And that's when I got mad at the fans for not finding the cutout. Or was that with Ben? I don't remember which one of you that was.
We've all been mad about it, and I haven't seen Sam since last December. So hello, Sam. I'm so happy to be on the pod with you again.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think I missed 3 or 4 episodes or something.
Me too.
Transpired in the time you've been gone? It's been pretty quiet, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Pandemic baseball is still happening. That's the story.
Right. And so I put out a pretty big edict to the fans as I was pretty pissed that nobody had found it yet. There's definitely ways to find it. And about 20 minutes after Ben and I signed off, I got an email from one of our people that found my email through my Twitter and sent me the zoomed in pictures. Do we want to take a look?
Please.
Yes.
And we understand that some of you listen to this on audio content. While J-Mac's pulling it up, if you ever check out our video, now's going to be a decent time to do that. So YouTube or any of the social medias, they'll have links to it because this way you can see the pictures. J-Mac, I think also after we release this, you should tweet these out.
I will send them out. We've had the normal one used a little bit. So this is the zoomed out version of it. Okay.
Okay.
So,
see a group of people in Oakland.
Any guesses, Ben?
They look like A's fans.
A lot of A's fans for sure. So we zoomed in a little bit.
There he is. Incredible.
And the one that's been going around the most is that one.
Whoa. Intensity.
Intense.
Why are you so mad?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I think my only sad thing is that because of the barrier, you can't see that you have an A piece of paper taped to your shirt. Like that's my only regret.
It's a real shame. And the other funny thing is, I wonder if we would have gotten one for both of you guys if you would have been on either side of me. But the fact that I'm just there by myself without people on each side of me is pretty funny too.
Well, if they had accepted my money, I mean,
you
this
tried.
could have happened.
I don't think you would have been next to me though.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, you have a really good seat.
It's not
You're
bad,
right behind the dugout. There's no one on either side of you. Like
I could put my feet.
That's a great day.
I could put my feet up. I could put my popcorn in the seat next to me, the hot dog in the other seat. You know, I can't really get a boomstick, so that's sad. But regardless, shout out to the anonymous. There you go. Anonymous fan that emailed it to me 2 weeks ago. Well done.
Well done.
What do they win?
I haven't decided yet, but I'm coming to a close really quickly on it. I'll say this. What I have in mind is going to be good for a full year. So,
I was going to say we should just appear on their answering machine. That'll confuse people.
That would be great.
So, are you saying it's not going to be pumpkin spice? Is that your way of saying that?
Not going to be pumpkin spice.
Hey, do we have time for one other weird non sequitur of me joining the future?
Don't we always?
Okay, so the year is 2020, and this guy, Ben Baseball, just signed up for a landline telephone.
Good. It's reliable.
I got a text from my folks saying, "Hey, we've canceled our phone service," and it meant that they were going to give up the phone number that they had for the last 30 years, like my childhood phone number. So I said, "I'm going to call the telecom company and see if I can get that number." And you bet your bottom dollar, I did. So now I have the same phone number I had from whenever I was age 5 to 19.
That's both confusing and very impressive. Like,
Sam, yeah, you go ahead and start.
so that's great, right? Everybody remembers everyone our age at least, and probably like plus 6 or 7 years knows their home phone number. They probably remember when it was 7 digits and not 10, right? And then they added the area code, and it's like, holy shit, 214-972. What do I do? 469?
No, 817?
817 was the last one I was going to throw in, but I didn't want to just like say 4 area codes. So that's great. Like if I had 490-6554, it'd be awesome.
3 is where he draws the line.
Yeah.
3 area codes.
Yeah.
So
that's it. I can't even name 3 Atlanta area codes.
I will be paying $0 a month because now I'm like a multi-person. $0 a month more to do this. I mean, I would have been stupid not to. Well, I mean, I'm stupid anyway, but
wait,
is that like the Michael Keaton movie Multiplicity, where you're
no, it's like a multi-pro because I have internet and phone, so the discount is equal to the price of the phone.
Okay, so that helps a little bit. But I just want to zoom out and just try to get a synopsis here. The synopsis is that you got a landline phone to save a telephone number, not for any real reason whatsoever.
That's accurate. Give yourself a ding on that one.
Let me give you an idea. I hope you thought of this, but you could have changed your cell phone number to that number. You know this.
What?
It doesn't have. You could have gotten that number as your cell phone number.
Well, but I've had the same cell phone number for 18 years.
What is
like
Why are you into saving these things? Are you some sort of pack rat? Like, what's going on here?
You've known this about me, J-Mac. We've known each other, 6 years?
Still, Ben, you never cease to amaze me. You really don't. It's amazing.
So what are you going to do with it?
Good question. I want to know that too.
Still working on that. I think the first 2 months are going to be just telling all of my parents' appointments, like, stop calling, this isn't their number.
Can we start, can we give it out for stuff for the show and we, take calls on the show?
I love that, but not a chance because my kids will have access to it. The last thing I want is they're eating their SpaghettiOs and one of our listeners call and want to talk about the Braves, prospect list. And my kids are like, what?
So that, I guess, really implies that you're running some sort of baseball phone line, which would be freaking incredible for the show. I mean, I think it'd be good. I think the girls would give great baseball advice.
They'd say, they should hit it. And when they miss it, they should not do that.
I don't know how much more simple it gets.
Right. That's how I coach.
All right. We're going to get that phone number. We'll get it out there then.
Perfect.
Sounds good. Well, I know that you guys are excited, and I know the listeners are going to be excited because we're going to have some incredible content. We're going to do something along the lines of Ben Baseball and J-Mac go to the World Series because it's coming to Arlington.
I got to say, I'm very... it's an extra twist of the knife that they're playing it here in Arlington and the Rangers aren't going to be in it. And it's like, oh, good, the World Series is here. Doesn't matter at all to the Texas Rangers.
Not only are they not going to be in it, they're going to be almost as far as you can be from it.
Yeah.
If J-Mac had his way, they would be relegated after this season.
Absolutely. My team as well. This is exactly what I was talking about. This would absolutely discourage tanking. That'd be incredible.
Yeah,
do we think they're tanking?
I
don't think the Rangers are tanking.
I think the Red Sox are tanking. I think the Rangers are just terrible.
Yeah.
It's still worse than the team trying to lose.
Correct. Pretty terrible. You hate to see it for sure. I don't really know. We've talked about that a little bit, but I've been looking into more of that stuff too, as to what's going on with that. So more to come on that specific thing. But it's pretty cool. So they're doing the World Series in Arlington, and then are they doing it also are they doing it all in one place? Did they decide on that?
It's all going to be here. This is the first time since 1944 that the World Series has been all in one location.
That is incredible. So like, how are they do we know like how they're doing playoff games, and like, is that just going to happen in home stadiums? Like, talk to me a little bit about that.
The playoffs, I don't know if you have it in front of you, Ben, but the playoffs are going to be held in 4 different cities. I believe it's Houston, Arlington, LA, and San Diego. And then they will filter down all the way to Arlington at the end. Arlington gets one game or one series of the DS, the CS, and then the World Series, and then it's kind of split between the rest.
Okay. I don't hate that. It's one of the best ways you can really do it.
Yeah, they finally like bubbled. Once you trim enough teams, you can bubble it pretty well.
Yeah. And I mean, they haven't had really any, seemingly any cases that have come back recently that we found out about, which is suspect. We've talked about that before on the show, and you do wonder about that a little bit, but I mean, especially with as much as these guys are traveling and stuff like that. But yeah. We're like a week and change away from the playoffs starting here. That's significant.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And I'm pleased that there's been fewer cases, but I'm still kind of skeptical of that. Maybe they got religion and sort of figured it out.
Yeah.
I do have the postseason schedule if you want to hear which series are where, because it's actually pretty cool how they've set this up. So definitely. The NLDS is held in Arlington and Houston. So you get NL only teams playing in AL stadiums, which is pretty cool. The NLCS is then in Arlington, and then the World Series in Arlington. So you get NLCS, NLDS, and World Series in Arlington, which is pretty cool. The ALDS is in San Diego and LA, and then the ALCS is in San Diego.
Interesting.
So they're effectively they're like swapping the leagues with the stadiums that they're playing in.
All with the whole universal DH thing going on. So it doesn't really matter regardless. So it's more of just an aesthetics thing. I like this.
I like it especially because if there were fans, it would give the opportunity for Houston to potentially play in Los Angeles only, which would be really fun.
That would be incredible. That would be absolutely incredible.
It's going to be a blast. I'm definitely excited about the universal DH across. I think that's going to make the World Series this year just bonkers.
They're not going back after that, right? There's no way you can go back. It's been so good. It's been so much better.
I mean, I've definitely paid more attention to National League Ball this year than I have in prior years.
It's because go ahead.
Has anybody been putting up a fuss like, "Whoa, pitchers aren't hitting"? I hate home runs.
Not that I've heard.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. I bet it stays.
I bet it really does. I don't think that there's any way that you can really go back to it after seeing how well it really works and how much it's just such a difference on the amount of rest that pitchers get and all that kind of thing. It really makes no sense to continue to have that as an actual thing. So I'm excited. I don't love 16 teams making the playoffs. Doesn't feel great. I mean, that's over half the league. I fail to see the competitiveness there. But other than that, I think it should be pretty fun.
I think it's purely a viewership thing. You know, you turn it into March Madness and try to get more eyeballs on your product. It makes sense. Where the risk is there's already so much baseball in a traditional season that it makes people tune it out even more, and it makes the first round of the playoffs less relevant. And so whoever was in the business meeting should have probably mentioned that.
It's very true. I mean, Sam, I was thinking about just last year, about a year ago, we were at the NLDS in Atlanta, and look how much it's changed since that point in time.
Yeah, I would say quite a bit has changed for pretty much everybody in the universe.
But I'm fine with if it leads to, the universal DH, then, if a pandemic had to happen. It is what it is.
And I just love seeing more of the talent that are on these NL teams. Like the Cubs can just roll out Kyle Schwarber anytime they want as the DH. You can have if you're the Cardinals, someone like Paul DeJong can take a day off from playing shortstop and DH. I would expect not only to see better offense because they have somebody hitting in the pitcher spot, but also because you can regular rest more guys more often and still get hitting reps. So I don't know.
Can I tell you guys, if the season ended today, what the matchups would be like?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we're like a week and change away. So in the American League, you'd have the number 1 Rays versus the number 8 Jays. You'd have the White Sox, number 2 White Sox versus the number 7 Indians. You'd have the number 3 A's versus the number 6 Astros, and the number 4 Yankees versus the number 5 Twins. There's some decent matchups here.
Those last two interest me a lot.
The first two, not so much.
Yeah, Oakland, Houston moves the needle the most just because they're division rivals.
Houston's going to crumble in that series if that were the case.
Oh yeah, they lost Verlander.
Yeah, and then the National League side, you'd have Dodgers versus Reds, Cubs versus Phillies, Braves versus Cardinals, Padres versus Marlins. I mean, the fact that the Dodgers are going to play the Reds is absurd.
The Reds don't even have a winning record. They're 26-27 at the time that we're recording this, and the Dodgers are 38-15.
We'll get into more about the Reds here in a little bit because we're going to talk a little bit about Trevor Bauer. But
I wouldn't go sleeping on the Phillies to take the Cubs out.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know that I would either. The Cubs, once again, have had kind of a strange season, I guess.
So
I don't know how to judge any of this stuff really and truly.
In prior years, the first round's 5 games. Is the first round going to be 5 games this year?
I'd have to look. I would imagine so.
Yeah.
It usually is.
Sorry, so for the DSs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 5 games. The CS is 7, and then World Series 7.
Not bad.
No.
So it'll be like which of those interests, like I guess which interests you guys the most, and like of all of those matchups, and then what would be the biggest shock to happen there?
I'd say that overall, I think a good one, I don't know if it interests me the most, but a good one's going to be Atlanta, St. Louis. I think those are 2 kind of blue chip clubs battling it out. The most surprising is San Diego, Miami. Like, what year is this? Why is this happening? But at least first round, I'm still most interested in American League, Oakland, Houston.
I think I'm most intrigued by Yankees Twins because the Twins cannot escape that damn matchup no matter what happens.
No.
How many times have they met in the DS? It's got to be like 7 or 8 times in the last 25 years.
It's something like that. Yeah, we talked about that last year when it happened and they got swept there too. I think the Twins are better than the Yankees, though.
The Yankees are very injured still. So, yes, the teams as they sit right now, the Yankees aren't as good.
I would love I love the very possibility that Aaron Judge is going to end up just hurt always and not going to be what everybody thought he was. But we'll see how that goes. We'll definitely see how it goes. But I like how the Twins are put together more top to bottom than I do the Yankees as far as depth goes. So that's going to be something to keep a watch on. What are your answers to those questions, Sam?
So Braves Cardinals is a really good answer. I still really like the Reds. I don't know why. They're like batting 500, but
no, they're not.
I would love to.
They're 500.
Just barely. I'd love to see them take 2 games from the Dodgers. That would be really fun.
Oh,
and then
God. That'd be great.
On the AL side, the last matchup you mentioned was what?
Yankees Twins.
What was the second to last one?
A's Astros.
Yeah, I guess it's division rivalry. I don't remember all the matchups, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, White Sox Indians. I think the White Sox would handle that pretty well, though.
Yeah, I think Indians have missed their window, and the White Sox, I think they have the almighty momentum on their side, which is just such an important thing in baseball.
They've also been really good. The White Sox have been like handling the Central
very handedly all season from the get-go, and they should. Like, they have a ton of talent on their team for sure.
They have the 3rd best record in the majors.
So I guess by the time we talk next, we'll know what these are, and they'll be set and ready to go, right?
Hell yeah.
Pretty awesome.
It should be. It may be the last game of the season, so there might be 1 or 2 little things at the end, but we're going to be real close.
I overall have loved the 60-game season. I really have. And it's novel because in a game that's changes so slowly, it's incredibly novel to see.
Yeah. The reasons behind the season have limited my ability to watch even a small fraction of 60 games for one team. But largely it's fun. It's quick. I mean, it started 7 weeks ago.
I mean, if we're going to let 16 teams in, I mean, do we really need 162 games to figure it all out? Like, I mean, it seems like these are pretty decent standings here as to what, like, matchup wise. There's some excitement. There's some underdog action going on. One of these underdogs is going to upset somebody for sure.
Yeah, I think that you'd have to sort of extrapolate it out and see, in any 60 game clip in prior seasons, how does a snapshot then impact the postseason race? And so, I mean, theoretically, no offense, Chicago, they may have just gotten hot at the right time. Yes, they're a good team, but they're also a young team. So they could have done this in April, May, and then fell off in June, and then, went 500 for the rest of the season. It just kind of depends. I think that because if we're going to do 60 games again next year, it's going to dramatically change the way that these teams are structured and built, because you still need longevity, but you don't need as much of it.
Right. It's true. I mean, it's not like they're going to make some permanent shift to a 60-game season, though. I mean, they're going to go right back to 162, no doubt about it. They fought to make it longer before. So, I mean, it's, that's kind of absurd, too. So, any other thoughts on playoff stuff coming up? I mean, I would love to see the Dodgers get upset somehow, just because that seems to be what always happens, but it's kind of hard to picture happening to them, really.
I mean, at this point, go ahead.
This is their year. I think they do it this year.
Do you?
Yeah.
I just don't see anyone in the AL taking them down.
They've hit over 100 home runs in 7 weeks. Ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
They're still playing shitty teams.
They are, but that's a lot of home runs, no matter what, man.
I mean, they play the Angels a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, they've played Oakland.
Yeah.
They played Houston.
But I guess that's the other side of the argument right there, is it is really hard to extrapolate what truly is better. I don't know. We've only known it one way, though, so it's kind of hard to say with a permanency that, okay, this would be better kind of thing. So, but yeah, Verlander out rest of the season. That's pretty crazy. We mentioned that a second ago with, having Tommy John surgery. We talked about that on the show, time is a flat circle, and nothing really matters at all. But we talked about this whenever he did get hurt. That might have even been early, the first spring training.
In March.
Yeah.
Late Feb, early March.
And he swore up and down he was going to be back. And I remember saying, that's done. He's going to have Tommy John on his, he's going to have to. And by the time he gets back, he's going to be 39, a free agent. And I don't see how you really come back from that.
That's the ridiculous part, is if I'm part of the Astros group, why didn't he get Tommy John as soon as they realized the season was delayed?
That's a good point.
Because this is going to delay him into next year.
Correct.
And if he would have, not that in April anyone knew what was going to happen, but if he just would have bit the bullet and done it in April, he would have been much further along in his recovery.
But I think the way it all is going to end up aligning is that no matter what, because that's a year plus injury comeback time, and he is going to be a free agent by that point in time, I think is kind of how it all ends up working out. So it doesn't really make any difference whether he did it in March or, September, really.
So fun Astros stat, because I just pulled up their pitching staff just to try to see who they have now.
Sure.
Christian Javier's in their 4th spot. Verlander is 14 years older than Christian Javier.
Holy moly. That's ridiculous.
Where does he go in free agency? Where would he go? I
wouldn't want a 39-year-old who's just coming off of Tommy John surgery. Get the fuck out of here.
The fit doesn't matter. It's the money. You're going to get a club who just needs a guy in the 2, 3, or 4 spot, an established team that's looking to extend their window. It'd be super funny if he ended up in Los Angeles. I would say most likely, though, I think Minnesota might make a play.
I could see that.
Just to keep extending it, To
keep the Midwest train going, I was thinking the Brewers might make a run at him.
God, what happened to them this year? Just Yelich getting hurt, just knocked him off the wagon.
Pretty much. They were kind of garbage all the way around. Like, that was a weirdly constructive team when they were really good, but it worked really well.
But truthfully, I just looked. They're in the 9 spot right now, 1 game back of Cincinnati. So in a week, this could change, and the Reds could be out. So don't necessarily sweep on Milwaukee or the Giants by that logic, but I think Milwaukee's a better team than San Francisco.
We're only – sorry, go ahead, J-Mac.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, so we're only like a week and a half away from getting to see if our predictions made any sense.
Correct. I haven't even looked at them, so I can't wait to see what they're going to be like.
I haven't either. I think we'll look at them right now.
Wait.
I think we were predicting like meteor or like return of dinosaurs. Like we had a bunch of strange predictions this year.
Well, speaking of the Reds, so I would love to see the Reds do it kind of to what Sam alluded to earlier, just because I would love to see them knock the Dodgers off as an underdog team. That'd be incredible. But I would also love to see just any success for Trevor Bauer, period. This dude, I'm not sure how aware you guys are of this because it's been pretty persistent for a while, but this dude has done nothing but go scorched earth on Major League Baseball for the past like 6 months. Like time after time after time. And it is unbelievable that he has faced almost no repercussions from it. But ironically enough, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's very likely going to win a Cy Young this year. He's got like a 1.1 ERA or some shit like that. And
absolutely insane.
The dude, he's been, I'll kind of give the 2 most recent updates of things that have pissed him off, and he's made it real known. Aside from a lot of other things of just issues like this, if you follow him on Twitter, he just goes scorched earth on Major League Baseball constantly. But one of the main things that he's been mad about, obviously, is the Astros cheating scandal. He's been very, very vocal about that, and very, very kind of one of those things where it's like, well, the players are going to get their revenge because baseball didn't do anything about it. That kind of attitude, which we talked about. And he's been the most vocal about it, though. He's been very proud of like what Joe Kelly did, to the point where he wanted to wear Joe Kelly cleats and they wouldn't let him. And he just absolutely burned them all over social media all weekend. And he's been very, very upset about that. And then he's also been very upset about just I guess a lot of the ways that that Major League Baseball has handled this season, and just some of the things that they were promised, and all the way around just the entire, I guess, experience of being a ball player. It's so candid. It's fiery, and he's pissed, but it you don't see that kind of truth spoken from players very often. I find it incredibly interesting.
I think that's why he's stuck in Cincinnati. Like he's not. I don't think he'll. Well, I guess some teams with less worry about clubhouse issues might pick him up, but like someone like the Dodgers probably isn't going to go for him, right?
Isn't he kind of like the dream teammate though?
Yeah, in like a AJ Pierzynski kind of way.
Yeah, but we've seen that.
I looked at his stats this year. He's on my fantasy team. He's gone scorched earth on hitters too. He's played 10 games, started 10 games. He's 4-4, 1.8 ERA, 88 strikeouts over 65 innings, and a WHIP of .815. So he's like throwing fire and spitting fire.
But like, if I'm a player, so Ben, help me here. So if I'm a player, right? And he's on my team, and like really any team, because he's not really, it's not like he's fighting with players or the team, or I know it's a toxic, like aura or whatever, but like he's standing up for injustices within the organization of baseball.
Well, that's where. So on the one hand, I definitely agree with him for speaking truth to power. Like, hell yeah, hats off to you. Especially if you're going to earn a Cy Young while doing it, like, incredible. To Sam's point about teammates, have we heard anything about the Reds' clubhouse chemistry this year?
I haven't specifically.
I think you only hear about really bad teams and really good teams in their clubhouse. Everybody in the middle is like, there's a lot of problems.
It's all of them. It's not just in the clubhouse. It's all.
So, like, as a result, So I'm wondering, A, if we haven't heard as much clubhouse stuff just because of media restrictions with COVID, observation. But it makes me, I think he'd be fine to have on your team if you are structured in a way where, if a team like Oakland, where they're winning anyway, I think they could take that on. I don't think a team signs Trevor Bauer to help get over the hump when it comes to clubhouse issues. I think a structured team would bring someone like him on to say, we're winning regardless. So, but understand if we stop winning, you need to put up or shut up.
Yeah. I have a hard time with thinking that play can even really enter the conversation with it, though, because he is putting up, so it doesn't really matter. I think that's where the struggle is, right?
Well, current state, but I'm saying if he went elsewhere,
okay.
that would be the linchpin to say either stop talking until you start winning or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, you can only do so much. I mean, he's still 4-4, but has some incredible stats otherwise. But I mean, the fact that he went out there the other day and wore cleats that had trash cans all over them versus the Astros is the best thing I've heard in a very long time.
Yes. Oh my God, those cleats are incredible. I almost was wishing that Oscar the Grouch would be in one of them just for the sake of humor, but
I thought the same thing. I mean, I look at his Twitter timeline or whatever, and there are times when so he tweeted out on September 15th, "Hey, at MLB, since I guess it's in violation of your new social media policy to post this great picture, tag at Reds and link people to MLB.com. What is the fine and who should I make the check out to? Or is it a policy going to be selectively enforced like all of your other ones?" And then he subtweeted that with a copy of the social media policy from Major League Baseball and said, "If you want to read the policy to which I'm referring to, it can be found here."
That makes me so happy.
I mean, it's not necessarily about his team, really. It's more about the league. And if it's not distracting from your performance, I don't have any problem with it.
What a shithead. I love it.
All the time I see these tweets.
I think he's probably a better teammate than an Alex Bregman, right?
Absolutely, dude. I bet you this dude will go to bat he's going to bat for the whole league. Every player in the league.
Well, and that's where maybe he doesn't have people standing up to align beside him, but behind closed doors, they're like, keep it going, man. We totally stand with you.
You have to think that's probably what it is, right?
And he's willing to weather the arrows as they come for the sake of those around him. I hope.
Yeah, I'm sure there are some people behind closed doors who are more like, dude, put that energy on the field. You're doing great. Don't get sucked into this shit, please.
I mean, September 7th, he tweeted. So this was during the Joe Kelly saga or whatever. He wanted to wear cleats that had Joe Kelly doing the lip out at the Astros players. He tweeted, "1. So let me get this straight at MLB. I was not allowed to wear #free Joe Kelly cleats. You threatened to levy unprecedented fines against me. You threatened to eject me from the game if I took the field in them. You threatened to suspend me if I wore them. Free Joe Kelly doesn't violate the policy. Meanwhile, a player wears cleats that directly violate your own policy," all in caps, "and one of your official accounts promotes it. In case you need a reminder, here is the actual policy." And he subtweets out the policy again. I mean, oh, fuck. And I'm all about it. I really am. He wore In-N-Out, and the cleats that he was referring to were someone wearing In-N-Out burger cleats, and they can't have advertisements on their cleats. So the league promoted that, retweeted that themselves, but won't let him wear. I mean, he's not wrong.
No,
That's probably just some intern running the Twitter who was like, "Oh, these are fun. Let me send this out," and they got some sort of a citation or something.
Probably. That's probably not inaccurate, and that's crazy to me. And he's not wrong about any of this. I think it's incredible that it's remained as silent as it has, because he's been openly doing this for months.
I think Ben had a point earlier when he said something about the media not having access. They're not around taking on these stories.
That's true. That's a very good point. He's absolutely worth a follow, so you can get a, and I mean, you can you can always take these things and chalk up to like this is just one person's opinion. So like it's not like this is how every player feels by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a good look into how one of the best, most elite pitchers in the league feels about how things are going on, or things that are going on, and what kind of position we find ourselves in whenever they're going to be negotiating a new collective bargaining agreement. It's going to be ugly.
Well, what I'm wondering is, especially with some of the social justice stuff happening this summer, if players got told they couldn't customize cleats a certain way, and he's going one step further and saying, I'm going to make it about baseball, but the larger point is, I know you've told other players that they can't do Black Lives Matter or can't do this or can't do that, so that's what I feel like might also be happening is he's like, I'm taking on this issue for the sake of this without necessarily shining a flashlight at it, potentially.
It's true. It's more like just live bullets type situation, like just shrapnel kind of situation, right?
What was that expression your dad had about catching wolves with landmines?
Dude, yeah, my dad used to say something about how you sure can. I forget exactly what the wording is. I'd have to really think about it, or maybe ask my sister or something.
Something about if you're a shepherd and you're trying to keep your sheep safe, you can catch wolves with landmines, but that doesn't make it a good idea or something.
Yeah, something to that. I can't remember exactly. I'll get back to the listeners on that. But yeah, it absolutely falls in that category of going a little bit overboard, and it shows the overbearing stretch of the league and how they treat players. And we've talked about this so much on this show about how players get essentially bottled up in this whole thing. And I have a feeling that's going to change really quickly because of stuff like this. I'm surprised he's the only one, to be real honest with you guys.
I think other people just aren't willing to weather it, or they don't necessarily have the skins on the wall.
That's true. He does have the shit to back it up. That's for sure. So it's been something that's been really impressive. And I mean, a lot of people will look at it like he's being a raging dickhead, which he is. That's the point. Like he's trying to draw attention to something that people don't seem to want to talk about. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, definitely follow us on social media. We'll try to keep y'all abreast of some of that stuff as it goes on.
Speaking of raging dickhead moves that I absolutely was in love with, Josh Donaldson getting ejected from a game after hitting a home run the other day was incredible.
Good for him. I thought that was just the best.
So, Sam, do you want to break down kind of how it went down?
Right. So Josh Donaldson is at the plate. The strike zone. I'm sorry.
How many calves did he have?
2 until they separate and then maybe become 3 total calves. Who knows?
3 calves.
But he's at the plate. The home plate umpire is calling a very bad game already. There's a number of calls that are sort of disputed before Josh Donaldson is up to bat. And Josh Donaldson check swings on a ball like 5 inches off the plate. And
it was bad.
It was a bad pitch. I mean, it was a great pitch. Sorry. Pitcher threw a great pitch. And he check swinged. I don't know if he actually checked his swing or not, but he asked the umpire, was it called a strike because I swung or because it was in the strike zone? Basically saying, hey, is that your strike zone that you're calling, or did I actually swing at that pitch? I think in both instances, Josh Donaldson is thinking that's not a strike because A, it was off the plate, and B, I checked my swing. I don't know whether he did check or not, but effectively calling into question the strike zone. And the umpire didn't really give him an answer at all. And then I think a couple pitches later, Josh Donaldson hits just like a laser home run over the left field wall. And on his way around the bases, as he approaches home plate, he kicks like a whole mound of dirt over home plate, and then the umpire ejects him for doing so. So he's like jawing at him before the home run, kicks dirt on home plate, gets thrown out of the game. I think the only guy to ever get thrown out of a game after hitting a home run. Yeah,
that's true.
My favorite part of it is after he was thrown out, he went to go kick more dirt on home plate just to add extra sauce on it, you know?
You got to get your money's worth after you get thrown out.
That's right. After the game, I want to read you guys the quotes that when they asked him about it. So they asked him, if he's happy, if he's happy with how he handled the situation. His response was, "I felt great about it." Number one, awesome. I think I nailed. This just killed me. I think I nailed it, actually.
He did. He hit a laser over the wall. It's a great home run.
He said, I heard, because he was talking to Justin Morneau, who's he's a television announcer now. He said, I heard you had a lot of people texting you and saying that they were embarrassed. Well, I'm not. This is my livelihood, and this is part of what makes me the player that I am. And at the end of the day, if I have something on my chest, that's going to be what it is. They asked him further on more about actual umpiring. He said, if the umpires consistently isn't doing his job correctly, that's affecting our careers. That's affecting our success. At the end of the day, there's no reprimand, no accountability for these guys that are making the actual decisions. As a matter of fact, they don't care. They don't care at all, most of them. They just want to get the guy over with for the most part, or get the game over with for the most part. And it's pretty sad because guys are out here making six figures a year and there's absolutely no accountability. So speaking of scorched earth, I love it.
I feel like he should be the commissioner of our umpire fantasy league next year.
Agreed. He's earned it.
That's perfect. I just think that's one of the nice byproducts of living in a pandemic and how they don't have people in the stands is you can hear so much more. You know, if he's at third base in the middle of a game and he's talking smack to the umpire, like, there's no guarantee the umpire hears that. If people are roaring, you know, the fireworks are going off. But, I mean, it's just no one there. You have some noise from the dugout, and I'm sure he's just letting the ump have it as he's rounding third.
No doubt about it. And he's 100% correct, though. There is no accountability measure there whatsoever. It shocks me that they haven't figured that out by now. And negotiated some sort of, like, I've always loved the whole, like, the percentage of correct calls is how they decide the umpiring crews for the playoffs and everything. I think that's really good, but there should, and we've talked about this ad nauseum, really, but there should also be a minimum threshold of of incorrect calls that you can make before. Okay, well, maybe you don't need to be making these calls anymore. Maybe.
Well, that's where it boils down to. I mean, listeners, unless you're driving, if you're driving, don't do this, but if you're not driving, close your eyes, picture your day job, and now imagine there was no accountability for the quality of the work that you were doing. Does that sound like a dream job to you? Maybe you could be a major league umpire.
I thought that was going to turn into an old school ad read. I was going to be like, oh, man, that's awesome.
Are you tired of having accountability for things? Do you wish that you could spend more time not having to worry about the quality of your work? Well, have we got a job for you? That's right. Here at the Outfielder Podcast, we are soliciting for umpires for our bunt derby. Next time we go to Colorado and we take turns seeing how well we can use that piece of carved ash and trying to hit the ball 5 feet away. If you like what you're hearing, send us a text to 555-5555. Not a real number. Back to you, J-Mac and Sam.
Why don't you give out the home phone number real quick so we can have them give you a call and let them know?
Yeah. No.
Nice work on the fly there.
Yeah, I'm giving you the applause. That's good. Good stuff. Heavy with the applause today, but I think it's deserving. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you're 100% correct. I think the other side of this is like, I mean, that is just sort of like the check on the game in a way and making sure that you don't have the inmates running away with the asylum kind of situation when it comes to these kinds of things. And I understand that he was upset, but a lot of people are like legitimately pissed off at him for this. And I don't understand that because you know what? Like, they get openly criticized constantly. And the second that they criticize someone else, they get fined for it. They get, you know, whatever. That's absurd to me. It really is. I get it. Like, you know, it's one of those things where, like, Ben, you brought up the day job thing. If you go to work and you just speak your mind and just let it fly all day long, odds are, if you're me, you're going to get fired. But like, if you're like, so like, I understand, like, you do have an employer and like your words do count for something and all that. I do understand that. But like, I mean, we've given two great examples of people that have spoken their mind, have been criticized heavily for it just because they have thoughts that maybe aren't, you know, agreeable with everyone else. That's crazy to me.
Well, that's where I'm thinking that this next, negotiation with the Players Association is just going to be so critical. Not that I'm not saying basketball has it right, but this feels more like baseball is getting closer to the players want to use that voice. The players want to use that platform. And will the game mold and shift enough to allow it? I don't know if it will or not. You know, we've been saying here for years now that this next negotiation will result in a work stoppage, and I stand behind that prediction. But I think it's just going to be really interesting that baseball, which is notorious, with the exception of Jackie Robinson, baseball's notorious for thinking 25 years in the past, and that's really going to come back to bite them this time.
Very well, good. Sam, any other thoughts?
No, Ben put it perfectly.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to look at it. So it'll be interesting that we're going to try to follow this kind of stuff a little bit more, just because I do think it's really fascinating to try to get a feel for what the players are actually thinking, and it's nice to see at least some unfiltrated thoughts and some raw opinions on what things look like as we head towards that. And I do think we're going to see more people speaking out that way.
Yeah. Also, we need to cut a drop of Sam saying Ben put it perfectly, and then just work that into the rotation, I think.
Okay. Well, we'll get started on that immediately. That is for sure on top of my list.
Yeah, I guarantee you it's not on his list at all.
It probably won't make my list. That's
He always seems to get himself mixed up in some really crazy shit.
Oh yeah, I do. I do get mixed up in crazy shit. That's true.
Hold on. What was that? What were we talking about there?
So funny story. I'll give Sam a guess as to what.
No, I mean, I'm usually drinking on the podcast, and I don't remember.
Okay, but let's listen to it one more time. Let's see if you can try to narrow down who you think this might be, because I know exactly who you're talking about, and I cut this drop quite some time ago, so I don't exactly remember exactly where it is, but I definitely know who you're talking about. I'm gonna play it one more time.
He always seems to get himself mixed up in some really crazy shit.
Any thought or any
Angel Hernandez?
It's either Angel Hernandez or Joe West, one of the two.
That was going to be my guess. Is who are the umpires we tend to talk about a lot?
Oh man, Sam, I wish you would have been here 2 weeks ago. I absolutely undressed Joe West. It was unbelievable.
Oh.
Yeah, can you use a different verb next time?
Nope, absolutely.
4 down. How about that?
Nope. I used it the way I wanted to use it. I stand behind it.
So I know you've been cutting other drops. You have any more? We have a few minutes.
Yeah, well, we've got plenty of time, and they'll come up. But there's some that definitely caught my eye, like this one. This is another one of Sam's.
My butt still hurts.
My butt still hurts.
You're good.
Yeah, I don't know. And Ben, I'm saving yours for the intros and everything. But one of the ones that two of them jumped out for me. This one, does he favor the brown eye? Talking about Max Scherzer. Does he favor the brown eye? We were talking about.
It's a good pause halfway through.
Yeah,
you knew it, and you were like, "Yeah, I'm going to go for it."
Yeah, no, it was there. We were talking about players putting names on their jersey and how Max Scherzer put blue eye on his. And then this one, but he definitely looked like the Ludes had just kicked in the front door or something. Talking about Quaaludes for some reason. So anyway, we'll get back to more of the actual drops later. But one that actually is topical, though. So Ben, you put this story in the chat just right before we got on. Albert Pujols passing Willie Mays, 5th all time on the list.
Yeah, so he knocked in 2 dingers in his last game, or 2 games ago now, and is now the 5th most prolific home run hitter in Major League Baseball history. And I hate Albert Pujols. I always have. I always will. But hats off to the guy on an accomplishment.
Just like a Pujols.
Just like a Pujols. Sam knows. Yeah, no, it's a great accomplishment. I'm not a fan of the guy either. I it's one of those things. So it feels like he's been creeping up on this record for a long time, but it really kind of accelerated fast in the last month or so.
So I actually have the list here. I hope y'all don't have it up, because time for our favorite game. Who does he have left to pass? He just passed Willie Mays with 660. It was where Mays was at. The last one he had passed was Ken Griffey Jr. with 630. So he's now number 5. Can you all name me anyone who's above Pujols?
Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron is number 2 at 755.
Is A-Rod above him?
A-Rod is above him at 696. So there's 2 left.
Ted Williams.
No, Ted Williams not on the list until he's tied at 20th.
Oh, God. Babe Ruth.
Yep, Babe Ruth, number 3. So you're missing the number one player. Number one home run hitter with 762. So he's 100 more above Pujols still.
762 is an absurd amount.
So who would have been capable of hitting an absurd amount? Played ball from 86 to 07. Pittsburgh and San Francisco.
Barry Bonds.
Barry freaking Bonds.
Of course. Can't believe I missed Barry Bonds.
Okay, the Hall's going to miss him too.
Do what?
The Hall will miss him too.
Yeah, that is sad. It really is. It's just sad. It's not even fair. But
Oh, really? It's not fair for him to do a bunch of steroids?
no, I don't care about that. Like, there are other people that are going to be left out of this thing. He's just one of the more notable ones right now. So that's this conversation for another day. Let's do that because I think that's
Perfect.
Sometime.
No, well done. Hats off, Albert Pujols. Dislike you, but well done. You gotta, game acknowledges game, right?
How much time is left on that Angels contract? It's got to be close to done, right?
God, it wasn't like a 9-year deal or something stupid.
I thought it was 10, to be honest.
Oh,
I don't exactly recall. It's got to be like this year or next, though.
do you think they've gotten their money's worth?
Probably. It hasn't translated into wins for them, which doesn't really, if that's how you want to break it down by sheer, performance. But I mean, the merchandising and all that stuff has probably really worked out well.
Yeah, merchandising, and with the exception of this year, ticket sales.
Right. So that's helpful.
He's signed through 2021.
So he's still got another year after this one?
Oh my God.
Oh, God. How does that guy's got to have like graham crackers for feet at this point, right?
Graham crackers? Why'd you pick
Plantar
those?
plantar fasciitis is very similar to walking on graham crackers. Everybody knows this, Ben.
Come on, Ben. Get it together.
He's got to have Triscuits for toes.
Why are you hung up on this? You're the one that installed a landline. Never mind. We're not going to.
He's got to have Wheat Thins for heels. Like, what are you saying?
Why are you so hung up on graham crackers?
Is that an actual thing?
Yeah.
Plantar fasciitis. I know graham crackers are a real thing, you idiots. Yes, I understand that. No, is that a quote that plantar fasciitis is like walking on graham crackers?
I'll let you figure that out offline.
Yeah. Good luck.
No, it's not.
Okay. So I'm doing the job that the grounds crew pays me to do, which is to keep you honest when you have BS analogies.
No, that's not a BS analogy because my point is that his feet are incredibly fragile. He may as well have graham crackers for feet because they're going to crumble apart all the time. That's the point.
What do you have against graham crackers, J-Mac? What do you put on your s'mores?
I love graham crackers. This is not an indictment on graham crackers. Mark that for later.
Okay. All right. Just trying to figure this out. Trying to get to the bottom of this for the good old listener.
I don't think so. We're not going down that road. We're standing up for graham crackers on this show through and through. Sam, are you a graham crackers guy?
Pro graham crackers over here.
How could you hate graham crackers? The graham crackers are great.
Why are you saying
They're not great. They're fine. No one's like, graham crackers.
There's nothing. Have you ever heard anybody say anything bad about them?
Not until today. They're fine. They're fine all around. I don't think they're amazing.
I'm telling you, like, the ultimate poor kid food that we did is we'd take graham crackers and spread cake frosting on them. Like, that's the jam right there.
We did a lot of chocolate graham crackers as a kid for like dessert.
Nice. Ben, when was the last time you put icing on a graham cracker? Be honest.
I do not remember the last time I put icing on a graham cracker. However, I did have a graham cracker yesterday because we did a fire pit at my in-laws' house and kiddos made s'mores.
I was hoping I cornered you to be able to say within the last 6 months.
It's like, well, not right now.
Pardon the crunching. I can't mute my microphone.
That's right.
Good stuff. All right, man. Take us out of here.
Well, if you like what you're hearing, make sure to check us out. We are all over the social media pages. Plus, we have our wonderful website at sensiblyloud.com. That's right. Is it reasonablyquiet.com? Heck no, it's sensiblyloud.com. Big props to J-Mac for producing this and every other episode. Rest in power, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. That helps us out a ton.
We want to thank everyone for tuning in for episode 125 of the Outfielder podcast. We'd like to thank all of our fans, Sensibly Loud Media, our sponsors, and those with the sharp eye to keep the runners close. Grounds crew, please keep patrolling that outfield. Big ups to Kevin Towers. Don't text and drive, and we'll see you right back here next time on the Outfielder podcast.